Adam, behold, I have seen in a dream this night the blood of my son Abel being poured into the mouth of Cain his brother. Satan said to Cain, swear unto me by thy throat. He killed him with great difficulty. For an hour he slaughtered him violently.
Jeez.
He's trying to figure out how to kill him, and it's horrible. Joseph gets it right. He says he wants to gain stuff like flocks, inheritance from Adam, the Holy One, the heritage, the Ancient of Days. So he kills Abel to try to take his place. All that stuff is corroborated by the Apocrypha. None of it appears in the traditional canon.
Okay.
Anybody familiar with these documents should look at that and say, wait a minute, some dude in 1830 thought to focus there? How did he know that?
Well, and then also, you can't just accidentally get those details right. All of the scriptural references used in this episode will be brought to you by scripturenotes.com. For a free trial to Scripture Notes, please visit the link in the description. Okay, Jonah, I'm super excited about this title. How did Cain actually kill Abel?
Kill Abel, yep.
And you got a new book in town, Lost Gems of Genesis, that it basically shows stuff in the Apocrypha and how it clarifies stories in Genesis. And I'm intrigued. Like, just start. How did Cain kill Abel?
Firing squad.
Okay.
That was it.
That was it?
That was it. No, he actually made him watch the Acolyte director's cut on repeat. Took 5 or 6 goes. Abel was done for.
Okay, rock on.
No. So the Bible doesn't give us a whole lot about this. Joseph actually doesn't either.
Okay.
The Apocrypha give us tons about this stuff, so it's hard to kind of sort through. But the Bible just says, what is it? In Genesis 4, it says Cain rose up and Cain went down into the field and rose up and slew Abel, and that's it.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't say the method or anything about it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this weird, like he went to the field to do it. You're kind of like, what is, are we talking about a field? Like, why does that matter?
Okay.
So there's some clues in the traditional canon that tell us about it that help us steer it to the right. Look, the Apocrypha provide like 10 different options, like 10 different options that we could take.
Okay.
And the question is like, which one do we trust the most? And the hints in the Bible and rabbinical tradition, and then Joseph Smith kind of point us towards one most likely scenario. What people don't know is that, so there's a lot of time that passes between Cain's rejection at the altar and his actually killing of Abel. In that time, according to Joseph, he correctly points out that Cain loved Satan more than God. That's in Moses chapter 5.
Okay.
And he is that, and Adam and Eve know that he's plotting to kill his brother.
Okay.
Eve has a dream, a premonition, and she says, I dreamt that Cain was drinking the blood of Abel, that he slew his brother.
Whoa, what book is this in?
It's several.
Okay.
I have it right.
Because I'm just checking out in Scripture Notes, and you're right. It just kind of basically just says his countenance fell, and that's all.
That's it. He rose up at the field and killed him or whatever. So in the Vita Adeietae, which is the Latin Life of Adam and Eve, Eve says, My Lord, while I slept, I saw a vision as it were the blood of our son Abel in the hand of Cain, who was gulping it down in his mouth.
Jeez.
In the, no surprise that what my book tries to do is it tries to set the stage for the Bible so the rest of the Bible makes sense.
Okay.
Like, why does Leviticus say don't drink blood? Why does Leviticus say don't do X, don't do Y? Why do they destroy Canaan? Why do they do all these things? If you don't understand the beginning, none of it makes sense, and the Bible looks monstrous.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
So this is just kind of an example of that. In the Greek life of Adam and Eve, my Lord, Adam, behold, I have seen in a dream this night the blood of my son Abel being poured into the mouth of Cain his brother, and he went on drinking without pity, yada, 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 yada. The Armenian, my Lord Adam, I fell asleep, and I saw in the night vision that the blood of my son Abel was entering the mouth of our son Cain his brother, and he drank his blood without mercy. And so on and so on. Even the Slavonic, a word of Adam and Eve. And Adam saw a dream that Cain and Abel, that Cain would kill his brother Abel. Said, when 14 years have passed, Cain will mercilessly shed the blood of Abel, his brother, and as I was told about this. So all these different accounts, they disagree about details, but the Venn diagram says that Adam and Eve knew this was going to happen. They knew this was going to happen. So what they do is they kick Cain out. and they cast him off the holy mountain down to the plain, down to the field.
Okay.
He hasn't murdered Abel yet, but they kick him down to the field. And down in the field is where he is a tiller of the ground and all these things. Now, the field is very significant in the Bible and rabbinic tradition because the field is associated with essentially all bad stuff. Okay?
Yeah.
There's the holy mountain and there's the field. The holy mountain is like Y Mountain, BYU. The field, that's like U of U. Okay? All the way to this day, right?
Okay.
All the bad stuff happens in the field. The sons of Seth and Enos and these guys are pleading with their sons, don't go down to the field. Don't go down to the field. That's where bad stuff happens. Stay up here in the mountain. Stay up here in the mountain, right?
Okay.
You'll remember that Sodom and Gomorrah were called cities of the plain.
Of the plain, yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right. And that's not just they're down on the plain. It means that they're of that culture.
Okay.
They are soaked in blood and in debauchery and human sacrifice and all kinds of horrible things, right? So that was...
Okay.
So, right, like so Sodom and Gomorrah, why did he destroy it? If you read just the Bible, you're like, I'm not really sure what's going on here. It's kind of weird. You read the Apocryphal texts along with it and Joseph, and you're like, oh, that's why Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. It was a bad place.
Okay.
So it kind of explains the rest of the Bible. So anyways, so Cain, he has to tempt Abel down from the mountain, okay? And so what he does, because Abel's been told, don't go down there.
Okay.
So what he does is right there, your last little quotation.
Right here. Okay.
This is the Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith says, Cain took one of his brothers' daughters. Satan said to Cain, swear unto me by thy throat, and if thou tell it, thou shalt die, and swear thy brethren by their heads. Okay, so he's saying, swear to me by thy throat and don't tell it.
Okay.
Just after that, Cain says, I'm the master of this great secret that I may murder and get gain. So the great secret is swear to me by thy throat and don't tell anybody what I'm going to tell you, okay?
Is this like how in the Pearl of Great Price he becomes Master Mahan?
Yes.
The
Master of the great secret.
which also shows up in, I just did an episode with Bruce Porter that illuminates the deeper understanding of Master Mahan in both the Italian mafia in New York City, as well as in some kind of apocrypha having to do with Egypt. I can't remember, but that's intriguing. Okay, so you're saying that Cain became the first bearer of like the secret combinations.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yes. He was the birth of it all. Of all the secret combinations. So then he has to tempt Abel down from the mountain. So Satan tells him essentially. So I remember as a kid thinking about this. This is a weird thing to think about as a kid, but I remember thinking, how did he know how to kill Abel? Like, how do you, like, you're not just born knowing how to kill somebody.
Okay.
Like, how do you kill somebody?
Okay.
Like, they're brothers, so obviously he's wrestled with his brother and put him in a headlock and socked him in the kidneys before, like all brothers have, but that doesn't kill him.
Well, now they're in a fallen world, though, where other animals in the animal kingdom, I'm sure, are predating upon each other and killing them. So you just see it from the animal
Would you
kingdom.
just bite your brother's shoulder and then like how like I would kind of be like, I'm not
chase him down like a cheetah, and then
and then shake your head really
Back
I don't really know, like, would that really and I thought, like, how would he know how to kill him? And then I was reading the Pearl of Great Price.
Okay.
And Joseph Smith says, Joseph Smith reveals that Satan said to Cain, swear unto me by thy throat and don't tell anyone the secret.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. So he has to take Abel down from the mountain. Okay.
Okay.
And he approaches the mountain, and there's a little quote in, where is it? It's the big one. It's the big one I put in. This says, "Oh brother,
Okay. Cool.
the country is so beautiful." So Cain comes to the foot of the mountain, and he calls up to his brother Abel, and he says, "Oh brother, the country is so beautiful, and there are such beautiful and pleasurable trees in it." So he's trying to allure him with the sights of the plain.
Okay.
And charming to look at. But brother, you have never been one day in the field to take your pleasure in that place. Today, oh my brother, I very much wish you would come with me into the field to enjoy yourself and to bless our fields and our flocks.
Oh, so he lured him in to ask for a blessing.
Brutal.
He's the first cry bully.
That's it. It's funny because this is
Dude.
Wait. So Carden, I actually quote you in this. Actually,
Shut up. Are you going to quote in your book?
I actually cite you in this.
Where? What page? Where?
Let's see. I can. Oh shoot! I can bring it up here. I actually.
We'll read the quote. Just read the quote, and you can find me that picture later.
Well, I say. So I say, Cain is asking Abel to bless his flocks. This is the first instance of what LDS filmmaker Carden Ellis calls the weaponization of empathy.
Oh,
Right?
yes.
Cain feigns need, and as a godly man, Abel feels it's his duty to serve his brother. He's a good man. Abel thinks, well, I gotta help him out. He wants me to bless his flocks. I gotta, you know. And Cain is abusing that. He's using that empathy, and he's, anyway. So,
whoa.
yeah. So, it's creepy, right? He's like, come bless my flocks. So the story is that Abel goes down. A lot of this is written in the book of the Cave of Treasures, if people out there are mad at me, which they always are, or Egyptian Life of Adam and Eve, chapter 78, where they go down and they're walking for a very long way until Abel is like, hey, where are those flocks you told me to bless? And that's when Cain strikes. Okay.
Wow.
Now, there's a bunch of different accounts of how Cain actually does.
But also look at this. You're so right though, because when I read this quote, and I'm gonna put it up on the screen right here so that we can look at this. He says, today, O my brother, I very much wish you would come unto me into the field to enjoy yourself and bless our fields and our flocks, for you are righteous, and I love you much, O my brother. But you have alienated yourself from me. That is literally just straight out of the look. I just want us to all be able. I just want inclusion.
Yeah.
I just want equity, and I just want equality. Like, you want equality.
Why
right?
don't you come
into the fields of equality with me, and we'll sing kumbaya together?
Yes.
But you've alienated yourself from me. But you hate X. Oh, you don't think that it's fair that taxes are too high. You hate minorities.
Right.
Oh, you don't think that we should actually have, I don't know, blue-haired temple ceilings in underwater basket weaving transgender ceremonies or whatever. Well, that's because you hate fill in sexual minority here, fill in abused person here.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, but you've alienated yourself from me.
Consider
my
that
God.
this ancient document, I'm glad you pointed that out. Isn't that crazy? That this ancient document says Cain has been shoved off the mountain because he's plotting to murder his brother.
Like Laman and Lemuel, like, you say unto us things that are so hard.
And here Cain is like, well, you've alienated yourself from me. Yeah, forget the fact that you're plotting to murder him. And that's why they kicked you out. And you're like, why are you so mean to me? Like, it's like these ex-Mormon, these anti-Mormon haters on YouTube or whatever. Like, oh, they ostracize you. They're so bad. It's like, did you threaten to burn down the church?
Yeah.
Is that why there's a restraining order? Because I feel like that's why there's a restraining order. Because you threatened to burn down the temple. Like, so don't pretend like it's us. I don't know.
Okay. Right,
anyway, so there's a lot of different accounts. The Book of Jasher. There's an Armenian account. The Quran has an account. The Georgian has an account. The Latin, the Greek. There's all kinds of different accounts on how the murder actually goes down. And all of them are totally heartbreaking because Abel begs to be, please don't kill me. The Armenian sons of Adam says that he first ties him to a tree, right?
Whoa!
First, he ties him up with a vine. There's some talk about he's playing a game with him, and he's like, hey, let's see if you see these vines here? They're really strong. Oh, really? Yeah. Like, can you break that? Oh, that's really strong. Yeah, watch this. I could tie your hands. Like, you can't even break it. And watch. And then he doesn't let him go. And Abel's like, wait, what are you doing? And finally, Abel gets onto the plot and says, please don't kill me. Please don't.
It's like Patrick Mason starting the anti-Mormon podcast on accident, masquerading as news. Do you remember that one?
Yes,
3 years ago.
That, yeah.
He accidentally got roped into just an absolute anti-Mormon forum on YouTube.
Yes.
And he's like, but I thought we were talking news.
Yeah. Oops.
Well, you didn't see that coming a mile away. See, that's
Here,
the thing.
put these zip ties on your wrists, Patrick.
Look,
okay.
This is proof. This is proof that there was so much wealth in the Garden of Eden, and amongst just because dude, I'm telling you, Cain and Abel were just boomers. They just because they just figured out that we can just lie and
they'll
rich
believe it.
people will just believe it. If Abel were a millennial, he'd be like, "Shut up, Cain. I know you're full of crap. I'm not going out to the field with you."
You're right.
You're full of crap. You're an anti-Mormon. Get the hell out of here.
I'm not gonna believe that.
You know what I'm saying? P.S. You want to come back? I got excommunication papers for you.
Wait, did you plot to kill me? No, I'm not coming down there. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, but my flocks. Yeah, shut up. No, I don't believe that.
Oh my gosh, that's
Now,
funny.
that's
Keep
good.
going.
So there's several different accounts of Abel pleading for his life, which are horrible and hard to read. The Quran says that they were in a fight, and Cain says, "I'm going to kill you," and Abel's trying to defend himself, and eventually it's like, well, you either kill me or I'm going to kill you. And Abel says, "Even if you stretch out thy hand against to kill me, I shall not stretch out my hand against thee to kill. Lo, I fear Allah, the Lord of the worlds." There's lots of different accounts of how this goes down. Eventually, Cain has to figure out how to do the deed, how to kill the guy. Okay, this is before cement.
Whoa.
This is before cement flippers were invented.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's thinking, how do I off the guy? And they all, well, not all. Excuse me, I shouldn't say that. Some of them say, like the sons of Adam the Armenian says, he killed him with great difficulty for an hour. He slaughtered him violently.
Jeez.
He's trying to figure out how to kill him, and it's horrible. The Zohar has an account on this. The Georgian document has an account on this. Abel begs him, "Don't make me die, my brother." Until finally he says, "Let me kiss your face, lest any want remain in my heart." And Cain has to go through it anyways. And the one particular account says he saws through his windpipe with a black flint stone. He saws through his windpipe. Okay? It's horrible. It's horrible. It says, as sharp as a razor, and Satan helped him find the flint stone, is how the story goes. Now, if you're reading Genesis, okay, this is all crazy fan fiction.
Okay.
But if you read it alongside Joseph says that Satan was there all along. He was goading Cain into it, always pushing him further and further. And then he helps him find a sharp flint stone that could act as like a knife.
Okay.
And he reveals the secret about the throat.
Cool.
Okay.
By the way, I just made an epic picture on Midjourney for this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Very Lord of War.
Pretty wicked, you know?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So keep going.
You know, if they had this type of stuff in primary, I would have paid a lot more attention.
Yeah.
You know, if they were
dude.
telling these stories, I'd be like, wait, this is freaking cool. These scriptures are awesome.
Exactly. Keep
So
going.
So Joseph, so if you're Cain and Satan says, "Hey, swear unto me by thy throat," your next question would be, wait, why by my throat? What?
Interesting.
Why? What's the deal? Well, because, if you cut someone's throat, they die. Wink, wink. Cain's like,
okay.
oh, I get it. So anyways, it jibes a little with Joseph's account. Eve's nightmare comes true. Cain saws through his windpipe and kills him. And then discovering the death, there's several different accounts that say either Adam and Eve knew it the moment it happened, or even during it's happening and come running, or they see that Abel is gone and they go running after him. That's Armenian. Eve exclaims, "Surely Cain is killing Abel." One account is horrible. It has Cain's sister come running to Adam and Eve and say, "Cain has killed our brother Abel." And then they go and find him and he's dead. One account has Cain right there. He doesn't even run. He just looks down and he says, "What have I done?" And Adam and Eve are like, "What did you do?" And he's like, I got carried away. I don't know. Why did I do this? Like, Satan goaded me into this. It's horrible. It's so tragic. And but then there's great Armenian
Oh, so you're
account.
saying that Cain's got like just a bad rap? Cain's actually just not a bad guy.
Oh, I go over that in my book. There's a lot of theories. Oh, Cain wasn't so bad. Cain wasn't such a bad guy. Yeah, no. Cain was a horrible guy. Horrible guy.
Yeah, it's like Talmage and Jesus the Christ says, whenever people want to speculate whether or not the atonement could have come to pass with or without, was Judas actually a bad guy? No, he was a bad guy.
Yeah, right. You're like, stop. This is embarrassing.
Yeah,
Like this
exactly.
deconstructionist crap. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
No, Cain was a horrible guy. But those secrets of Cain, okay, so if you kill them, you get their stuff. Yeah. Also, the drinking of the blood. The Zohar says that he didn't have a flintstone. He had to use his teeth to bite through his throat, which is horrible. Drinking of the blood to extend your life. And then stealing his wife. There's a lot about them fighting over a wife, Cain and Abel. These themes all, Joseph says, become the dominant culture for the next generations of Cain. That this fighting and killing and drinking blood and stealing wives thing becomes the culture down on the plain. And eventually Sodom and Gomorrah inherit it, and so on and so on. But Joseph is the guy who says this all starts with Cain, this formula to murder and get gain. Now, interesting. Joseph said Cain murdered to get gain, right? That's not in the Bible.
Okay.
Not in the Bible.
Yeah.
Joseph says he murdered to get gain. In Genesis, what could he possibly have gained? That would have sounded really dumb in 1830. Okay. To gain what? What did he gain? He didn't gain anything. He just was bitter about the altar contest that he lost, so he kills his brother.
Gain status right away because now all of a sudden he's numero uno.
Maybe, and that's an implication, I guess. But there really is no gain. What now? The Apocrypha come in and say, steal his wife. Cain wanted to steal Abel's wife. Cain wanted to steal his flocks, and that's what Joseph says. Joseph says he wanted his flocks. He wanted to gain the property that he had. Okay. And then, of course, the inheritance of Adam. That there was a holy inheritance from Adam that Cain wanted, that Abel was going to get. Now, that's nowhere in the Bible. That's all over the Apocrypha, and Joseph gets it right. Before any of these Apocrypha are revealed, Joseph gets it right. He says he wants to gain stuff like flocks, inheritance from Adam, the Holy One, the heritage, the Ancient of Days. So he kills Abel to try to take his place. All that stuff is corroborated by the Apocrypha. None of it appears in the traditional canon.
Okay, cool. Keep going.
So all of these are tiny little home runs that Joseph is hitting so casually. Just click, 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 click. Just fill in the stands with baseballs.
Yeah.
He's just like over and over and over again.
Okay, cool.
So, and then he ends with the cryptic verse from Moses, chapter 5, 51, 55, 56 says, "From the days of Cain there was a secret combination. Their works were in the dark, and thus the works of darkness began to prevail among the sons of men." And it goes across, it says, God was angry with the wicked, with all the sons of men whom he had made. Cain is the start of it all. And these abominations were had from Cain. I think that comes from the Book of Mormon. I think that's Helaman. They pop up again in Ether.
Okay.
But Joseph is the guy who ties it all together. He says Adam and Eve were the heroes, Cain was the start of all the bad stuff, and that sets the stage for the antediluvian era before the flood. So, how did Cain actually kill Abel? Sounds like Satan helped him find a flint stone to saw his windpipe, and may or may not have been drinking his blood in an attempt to steal his life. Leviticus says blood is life. Leviticus chapter 17.
Yeah.
The blood is life. That's why you don't drink blood, because it's the life of that creature. This was a belief among the ancients.
Yeah.
And so the idea of drinking the blood, the book of Enoch says that they were drinking the blood of their enemies to try to steal their life, lengthen their lifespans and these things. Joseph, he hopscotches through and manages to weave through these accounts and make it work. He provides a framework that makes it all work. And that's what I try to highlight in my book. It's chapter 3.
Yeah, rock on. So shout out to Scripture Notes, who's been the provider of all of our scriptures on screen during this episode. We got to talk to him about getting some of these comments from your book as like little links to the scriptures.
No, I don't like Scripture Notes.
You know
I'm mad at Oak Norton.
Why are you mad at Oak Norton?
He's putting me out of a job with his stinking software. I am Scripture Notes. Like, this is what I do. I like find like a weird apocrypha, and he's like, we're going to put all the apocrypha in here. I'm like, no, don't do that. Get out of here. He's like, so what do you use for your apocrypha? I'm like, I'm not telling you, Oak. You're going to put me out of a job. He's such a nice guy, but he's AIing, he's automating my offering.
Yeah, you used to be special until Scripture Notes came along.
I know.
And then all of a sudden, put you out of a job, bro.
Right. I have all my electronic documents with all my Apocrypha and all my Excel spreadsheets and stuff that I use. His stuff's surpassing that. So I'm not happy with you, Oak.
Yeah, well, with that said, do not go to Plain and Precious Publishing.
Right.
Do not go to Plain and Precious Publishing
Wink,
and
wink.
pick up this book, the Lost Gems of Genesis. Do not do that. Mm-hmm. Instead, make sure that you guys head over to scripturenotes.com.
Dang it, Carl.
You know what I'm saying? Just head over to scripturenotes.com.
You little jerk.
And see if you can't pick up, I think there's a free trial that's still available. For 14 days, you get a free trial. And just make sure you put Ward Radio in. I believe it's just uppercase Word Radio is the code. You get a free trial of Scripture Notes. It's actually pretty cool.
Well, for this book, so just to compete with Scripture Notes now, so I mined over 40 apocryphal documents. I cite over 150 academic papers, and there's 1,300 footnotes with, that's not counting inline citations. There's a lot of research went into this guy. I have to stay ahead of Scripture Notes.
Yeah.
So it's making my life worse. Okay, Scripture Notes is making it harder for me. But here it is. You get a benefit from it. It's giving me gray hair. Oak.
Yeah.
Thanks, Oak.
Yeah, Oak Norton. Cool guy. So anyway, I almost died. Holy smoke, down the wrong pipe there. But anyway.
That windpipe's important, isn't it?
Yeah, dude, for real.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below on this. Are you smelling what he's stepping in? Does this not carry weight? I have one question before we do go. If I were watching this episode, one of the things I would ask in the questions is, I'm not turning into some like HMD guru here or anything. Okay. But, I'm a little bit less apt to believe a 14th to 17th century book out of the Apocrypha and its version of the story of Cain with 1,200 years of oral history, both fictitious or non-fictitious to choose from, than I am maybe like a 5th century apocryphal book or a 4th century apocryphal work. What's the oldest reference that you have to Cain slaying Abel with a flint stone in all of the work that you've accumulated?
Oldest.
What's the oldest reference to this? I mean, we pulled up the picture, said, hey, yeah, isn't this cool? There's a picture of Cain with his flint stone, and he's about to come at the throat of Abel. And, and you're the associate professor of all things apocryphal. You've combed through all of the Apocrypha. But hey, let's be honest. The Apocrypha is like everything from 18th century forgeries all the way to the Book of Enoch and the Book of the Giants that predates Christ. And we know for a fact the early Christians regarded, if not inspired, as, part of the ecosystem of ideas enough that it would get quoted by writers of the New Testament itself, Jesus Christ even, and Jude quotes the Book of Enoch, right? So there's a big spectrum between complete and total BS to quoted by Christ and Jude in the New Testament.
Yes, right.
And somewhere in there is this story of a flint knife with Cain. So what's the oldest reference or the most credible reference you have to this story, and why?
That's a hard question, because there's lots of traditions from lots of different places, and to date them is very difficult because a lot of these places didn't have they weren't writing things down. There's Palestinian legends and Arabic legends that all kind of speak about the details around Cain and Abel. It's such a ubiquitous story. If you were to look for a certifiable oldest, the 4th century or beginning of the early 4th century is the Book of the Cave of Treasures by Ephraim the Syrian. That's probably the oldest verifiable dated document that mentions the flint cutting its throat. Now, people say, "Oh, that's not that old." That's older than the creeds, by the way. That's older than the Bible was compiled.
Ooh,
so
that's true. Okay,
let's chill out a little bit about that.
Yeah.
The Dead Sea Scrolls don't mention anything about that, and the traditional canon, based off of the oldest documents, which is the oldest voice, the traditional canon doesn't mention anything about the method that he was killed. So the most dependable source that I have is the Book of Moses, is Joseph Smith's revelation concerning Adam, where he says, "Swear unto me by thy throat." He doesn't mention the method explicitly, but that's the hint that you get from Joseph's revelation. So that seems to fit. So the other accounts that say it was the jawbone of a lion, or that if it was oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Ephraim the Syrian.
So, this is just what Wikipedia says. Sorry, I wasn't meaning to interrupt you. You must have seen it on the screen. But anyway, it says the Cave of Treasures in classical Syriac.
That's right.
Romanized into and then also put into Arabic or whatever, is an apocryphal and pseudepigraphal work that contains various narratives related to the Christian Bible, originally written in Syriac, approximately at the end of the 6th or the beginning of the 7th century AD, which for all of the anti-Mormons out there, the 6th century is actually the 500s. not the 600s.
Oh, that's good.
So,
I'll help him understand that.
what? So, yeah. Anyway, so sometime in the 500s is the oldest copy of this, but that's fine though, because some of our earliest copies of the Bible date to only the 400s, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, sure. Well, John, I mean, there's passages in John. Heck, the Wahanin comma is like 1,000 years after that. So the whole basis of the Trinity, that was like made up in like the 15th century. Like it's like it's totally just made up in the past little while. I mean, Nancy Pelosi is older than the Wahanin comma.
Yeah, okay. You know? brutal, dog, brutal.
But yeah, anyway, but Joseph Smith gives those hints, and Joseph doesn't like explain them at all. He doesn't say like, "Now you'll see here that I'm really referencing," like nothing. He just like drops these things like freaking Johnny Appleseed Revelation, just like throws them and walks off, and you're like, "Wait, whoa, oh my gosh!" He just doesn't even care. It's amazing the stuff that you find in the Pearl of Great Price, and when you start corroborating it with these apocryphal documents, it makes it so much easier to sift out the garbage that made its way into this, into the Cave of Treasures document or other documents. There's a lot of kind of fluff in there, but it helps you figure out like, this is probably made up. This is probably later. Stick to Joseph and everything kind of becomes clear.
Yeah. So one last question before we go. If you look on this Wikipedia page here, right, it mentions everything you said about like Ephraim the Syrian and so on and so forth, who was born in Nisibis soon after 8306 and died in 373. So in reality, that might be an interesting reasonable date to speculate that this book could have at least come from, because even if we have later manuscripts supposedly written by a guy, if we can actually triangulate where that guy is, it's a safe bet that these are stories from his lifetime, right? So anyway, it also says, though, this is another paragraph here, and I don't mean to put you on the spot right here as we're recording, but it says the oldest Christian work in the history of God's dealing with man from Adam to Christ is probably the anonymous conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan, which in its original form is from the 5th or 6th century AD. The writer of the Cave of Treasures borrowed largely from the conflict of Adam and Eve, or shared a common source with it.
Oh, sure.
So you're aware of that document. Does that have the Flint knife in it as well, or any kind of...
No, not that particular detail, but the conflict of Adam and Eve, I cite dozens and dozens and dozens of times in this book. I mean, that's one of my favorite... Conflict of Adam and Eve. There's several different versions. There's Latin, there's Greek, there's Georgian, there's Romanian. There's Latin, there's Greek, there's Georgian, there's Armenian, there's Ethiopian or classic Ge'ez. There's a lot of them, and I love them. The Adam and Eve literature is like my favorite, and that's what I spend most of my time on in my research. But but that's a very famous document, the Conflict of Adam and Eve. It's many different versions. So just think of that. Okay, the conflict of Adam and Eve is all over in all these different languages. Guys, Genesis doesn't have the conflict of Adam and Eve anywhere. Guess who does?
Yeah.
Joseph does.
Yeah.
Joseph's the guy who has it. The fact that he even picked that to focus on is crazy. Yeah. Anybody familiar with these documents should look at that and say, wait a minute, some dude in 1830 thought to focus there? How did he know that?
Well, and then also, you can't just accidentally get those details right. It's not like he said, I got to make an old version of Adam and Eve. Okay, he pulled out a blunderbuss. No, that's no. He pulled out steel sword. Okay, oh my God, I want the Book of Mormon now. He pulled out an abacus. It's
right,
just like,
right. Well, the fact that he even chose. So back in Joseph's day, the obsession was with early Christianity. They wanted to get back to Jesus Christ. If there was a Netflix in like 1820, 1830, it would be just like Roman Empire documentaries and The Chosen all the time, 24/7. The people were obsessed with the Roman Empire and with early Christianity. And then Joseph comes along and he's like, let's talk about Adam. And you're like, what? What do you... No, we're way past Adam. He's like, no. We got to talk about Adam. He was obsessed with Adam. Joseph preached Adam from 1830 till the day he died. He was talking about Adam and Eve. He was a huge emphasis in the Restoration. The temple ordinances are not a small part of that. Yeah. But he talks about Adam all the time. The fact that he chose that to focus on is fascinating, since after his death, a slew of documents come out all focusing on Adam and Eve. The conflict of Adam and Eve is in reference to their expulsion from the garden. After they're kicked out of the garden, and their conflict with Satan. Satan comes and he keeps trying to tempt him. That stuff's in the Book of Mormon. It's in the Pearl of Great Price. It's in the Doctrine and Covenants. Joseph Smith gets it right. The fact that he even chooses to play on that battlefield shows that he knew something. And any honest scholar would look at these documents and they'd say, wow, how did this guy know? How did he know to focus where he did? Moses chapter 5 is all about the conflict of Adam and Eve.
Dude.
So
This is cool. Okay. One last time here. One last time. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check out Plain and Precious Publishing. Pick up his book, The Lost Gems of Genesis, How Apocryphal Texts Prove Joseph Smith Fixed the Bible.
And don't get a scripture notes. Don't do it, guys.
Yeah.
It's a virus.
Yeah,
it's a virus, okay?
Thank you very much to Scripture Notes for sponsoring this episode. For this and more, guys, please make sure you check us out at wardradio.com.